Are EVs a scam? Donald Trump certainly thinks so, and he has just announced that he will shut down EV production in the US if he becomes president. In contrast to his biggest rival Joe Biden, he is not a fan of EVs, and Trump recently made that very clear once again with new comments that shocked the entire EV industry. Trump has a huge plan to make the good old combustion engines the big winner in the auto industry. This isn't just about EVs. It's a battle for the future of cars and transportation in America. So what could this mean for EV makers and EV owners going forward? Let's dive deeper into the fascinating plan of Donald Trump. Could we see a massive shift in the US car industry towards gasoline-powered vehicles again? Where exactly does he want to take America as a car nation? Let's find out. The automotive world is abuzz with electrifying news. Over $100 billion in investments into electric cars, heralding the creation of over 100,000 American jobs. But this bright future faces a potential roadblock with the prospect of Donald Trump returning to the Oval Office. At a recent rally, Trump dismissed EVs as too costly and also said they simply doesn't go far enough. Yet the consumer appetite for EVs is actually growing, fueled by decreasing prices, an expanding array of models, and a surge in government and industry investments. However, the journey towards widespread EV adoption isn't without its speed bumps. EVs only made up 7.2% of the market in the last quarter, a slight increase from 5.7% a year earlier, as per Cox Automotive. This modest growth suggests that natural consumer interest might not be enough to back the colossal investments in EV technology by automakers. Enter the Biden administration's incentives, a strategic mix of tax benefits and stringent fuel efficiency standards, aiming to propel EVs to represent up to 2/3 of new U.S. car sales by 2032. But Trump's plan to hit the brakes on these incentives could send the automotive industry's EV dreams careening off course. Interestingly, while Trump may be critical of EVs, members of his own party are embracing and benefiting from these advancements. Post the Inflation Reduction Act, over half of the new clean energy projects have sprung up in Republican-led districts, underscoring a political dichotomy within the party regarding the future of EVs. One of Trump's most contentious actions during presidency was his proposal to dismantle the Obama-era fuel standards. The previous administration had set ambitious goals for fuel efficiency with the intent to significantly cut down on vehicle carbon emissions. However, Trump's alternative plan proposed much more modest annual improvements in these standards, a move perceived by many as a regressive step in combating climate change. Trump further cemented his anti-EV stance by vowing to overturn the Environmental Protection Agency's new car pollution regulations. These forward-thinking rules aim to boost the adoption of electric vehicles, potentially mandating them to account for as much as 2/3 of new car sales in the U.S. by 2032. Trump's resistance to these measures threatened to impede the progress towards widespread electric vehicle usage. Additionally, Trump's administration cast doubt on consumer incentives for EV purchases. The $7,500 tax credit for EVs, part of the Inflation Reduction Act, and billions in grants and loans for EV technology advancement faced uncertainty. Such actions risked hampering U.S. firms' investment in EV technology and possibly surrendering the EV market to international competitors. Despite relaxing air pollution and mileage standards, Trump's policies saw a disconnect as several automakers chose to stick with California's stricter regulations, indicating a split between the administration's views and the industry's environmental commitment. Trump made a bold declaration at a Detroit battery factory, expressing his intent to stop the EV movement, arguing that electric vehicles would doom traditional automakers and asserting America's lack of need for such products. He further amplified his anti-EV message, branding electric vehicles as a scam on Truth Social, and contending that the EV transition would lead to the downfall of the U.S. auto industry and job losses. Trump's handling of electric vehicles and broader environmental policies sparked intense debate. While some backed his preference for traditional industries and skepticism towards new technologies, others condemned his disregard for environmental concerns and the global shift to sustainable energy. His approach seemed to overlook the increasing worldwide agreement on the importance of moving to cleaner energy, including electric vehicles, as a means to combat climate change and reduce fossil fuel dependency. In a remarkable shift, the automotive industry has announced a staggering $120 billion investment in electric vehicles, promising to generate 143,000 new jobs in the U.S. over the last 8 years. A significant 40% of these investments have been made following the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, according to the Environmental Defense Fund. The tide is turning in the automotive industry, with electric vehicles outpacing the growth of traditional internal combustion engine cars. A summer survey by Cox revealed that over 50% of consumers are considering an EV purchase. Moreover, 53% believe EVs will eventually eclipse ICE vehicles. Responding to this shifting consumer sentiment and regulatory landscape, General Motors has ambitiously committed to phasing out all internal combustion vehicles by 2035. Similarly, Ford is gearing up for EVs to constitute nearly half of its sales by 2030. In a symbolic move, GM even revamped its logo to resemble an electrical plug, signaling its new direction. So where do we see it going if Trump becomes president in 2024? If Donald Trump becomes president again in 2024, the path ahead for EV production and ownership could face significant changes. Trump's previous tenure was marked by a reluctance to support EVs, favoring traditional internal combustion engine vehicles and rolling back environmental regulations. This approach could potentially re-emerge, impacting the recent momentum gained in the EV sector. Under a Trump administration, we might see a reduction or elimination of federal incentives for EVs, which have been crucial in making these vehicles more affordable and appealing to consumers. This could slow down EV sales and dampen consumer interest. Trump's policies could also lead to lesser focus on emissions standards, reducing the pressure on automakers to shift towards cleaner cars. For EV owners, this shift in policy could mean fewer incentives like tax credits and potentially higher costs of ownership. However, state-level initiatives and global market trends towards sustainable transportation might continue to support the EV market to some extent. Automakers, who have already invested heavily in EV technology, might find themselves navigating a more complex market, balancing consumer demand, regulatory environments, and their long-term electrification strategies. The industry's commitment to EVs and the global trend towards sustainability could counterbalance federal policy changes, but the overall pace of EV adoption in the U.S. will for sure slow down and might even be shut completely should Trump do as he really wants. What do you think is the future for EVs? Leave a comment below and remember to subscribe.